What's good, everyone? Welcome back to another video. I want to tell you guys how I hit a record month in September where we did $20,103 US in revenue, and cash collected here, I have it pulled up, 13,238 USD in cash collected. Now, this was an enormous jump compared to what I did last month and the months prior, where I was capped at around 5 to 10K cash. I want to break down in today's video how I was able to make that jump, what changes I had to make, and the lessons that I learned in order to achieve this at just 22 years old. Because I always had this idea of it will take several months to a year of character building, of being in the trenches, putting in the work to make this kind of money at my age. But to be honest, one of the biggest limiting beliefs that I had broken was it didn't take that much more effort to hit these kind of numbers compared to before. I was largely working the same amount of hours than I was in these past couple months when I wasn't hitting 13,000 to 20,000, okay? I did a group coaching call with the students last night, and I broke down what I did to hit that record month, and I really just want to relay that to you guys today here on YouTube, and hopefully you find some value out of it. I'm just on the balcony right now, smoking a cigar, got really nothing much to do except make content, so this is why we're doing this today. Unfiltered, raw, vintage Matt Jacob. But the first thing that I did to hit the record month was I was the most consistent last month with my health and fitness, with the gym. Now you might think, what does the gym have to do with making money? Like, shouldn't you just be focused on entrepreneurship rather than just going to the gym all the time? Now that's a limiting belief that I used to have back then. I would always say to myself, oh, I don't have time to go to the gym today because I've got work to do. I just want to get up, I want to get ready and just be at my desk. While there is some truth to that, and you don't need to be spending 1 to 2 hours or more than that, God forbid, at the gym, lifting weights or working out. I found there was a big correlation between how consistent I was with going to the gym and working out with the amount of money I was making. Hence why I hit the record month last month. And this all ties into the concept of how you do one thing is how you do everything. I think it was coined by mainly Sam Ovens, one of the GOATs in the consulting space, and he's absolutely right there. I found on days when I didn't go to the gym, I'd have a lot of brain fog, I'd feel very lethargic, my discipline wasn't on point, and I just didn't have those endorphins running through my system. And then vice versa, when I did work out earlier in the day, I typically like to do it first thing in the morning, is I'll hit a quick workout. I'm on a 4 times a week split, upper, lower, and I'm on a bulk right now. So I've also been taking care of my diet, I've also been taking care of my recovery, as well as the workouts I've been doing. And then here and there, I'll mix in some cardio just to make sure I'm not going out of breath when I go up a flight of stairs. So here and there, I'll throw in a couple of runs, or I'll go for walks a lot more frequently. So how does this tie into how I did a record month last month? Well, it's simply put, how you do one thing is how you do everything. If I'm disciplined with the gym and I can get that small detail down pat, then I can handle the bigger problems in my life. I can handle business and be consistent with that as well. Gym has a lot of parallels in life, guys. You have to track your numbers to make progress. You have to track your lifts, you have to track your splits, every single detail in order to make progress. You have to be disciplined and show up on days that you didn't, even if you don't feel like going to the gym, you have to show up, okay? So it's all mental toughness, it's all discipline, it's all about tracking your numbers. And if you feel good, then you're gonna make more money. When you're on a sales call and your mind's all fuzzy, you're more likely to close a deal than if you went to the gym early that day, or you sweat, or you did some exercise, and you can close that deal easily because you now have a clear head. So I found there was a big correlation, and I don't think it was coincidence that the month of September, when I started taking my bulk seriously, was also the month that I hit my record month. So number one, I was most consistent with the gym. And now moving on to the second reason why I hit a record month in September was I took the small details seriously. What do I mean by that? Obviously business is hard, sales is hard, being a setter is hard if you're trying to make it in life, right? You're trying to grind, you're trying to help out your family, you're trying to make a living for yourself and get in a secure position financially, right? It's hard. But as Jordan Peterson says, before you go out there and try to change the world, make sure you make your own bed first. Make sure that your room is clean. I believe I hit a record month because I was taking the small details more seriously. So I have a group of 2 or 3 friends, and I remember this conversation so vividly because last month or 2 months ago, they sat me down and they just went ham. They were holding me accountable to certain things I wasn't doing, things I was sloppy on. I had a tendency before to reschedule calls for my own convenience. I would ask to reschedule, I'd be a couple of minutes late to calls. Not every day I was making my bed. Not every day I was making sure my condo was clean. So little details like that, you guys might think aren't that important and you can just brush it off to the side. But no, again, it all ties into how you do one thing is how you do everything. If you're sloppy in certain areas of your life, then you will be sloppy in business. You'll be sloppy on your sales calls, and you will be sloppy when you're appointment setting, okay? So I remember this conversation so vividly because for the longest time, I was used to being praised. I was used to people telling me how good I was doing. And then when I had that call with one of my close friends, they basically just called me out, no filter, on what I was slacking on, including being late to calls, including rescheduling calls, including not moving with speed. Because I realized back then I was moving pretty slowly with my business. There were certain things, such as if I had to film a piece of content, I would take 1 to 2 days, 3 days to fully get it out on YouTube or on Instagram. But why wait 2 to 3 days when I can just get it out in the same day? Like, what is actually stopping me if I was being real with myself? What is actually stopping me from getting it out same day? Hence why I'm making this video, okay? We wanna move with speed. We wanna make sure you're not sloppy in all areas of your life, and you get the small details down pat first. And I'm glad that my friend called me out on this bullshit, because if he hadn't called me out on that bullshit, I wouldn't have felt the emotion to be pissed off at myself, which wouldn't have elicited change, which wouldn't have led me to making the record month in the business, all right? So right after that call, I simply fixed up on the few small details that I was slacking in. For example, instead of showing up late to calls, I was showing up 5 minutes early to every single call I have on the calendar from now on. Every single morning, the first thing that I do is I make my bed. When I had a temptation to be lazy and to move slowly and take my time with things and be a perfectionist, I would replace that voice with moving with speed and making sure I was getting it done as fast as possible, not delaying or procrastinating. I'm gonna put the mic here so you guys can hear me more, but all I'm saying is, if you take a look at your life and you look at things that you're maybe sloppy on, you're inconsistent with, even down to the small things such as cleaning your bed or showing up to meetings or how you dress, how you present yourself. I guarantee you, if you just change those couple small things in your life first before you tackle any big business or sales problems, your life is gonna exponentially improve, so is your income. If you just did that for this month and didn't make any business changes, I guarantee you would make more money this coming month compared to the last couple months. So number 2 was I took the small details way more seriously, and I was just being more professional. How I'm performing as a business owner is also gonna reflect on how my clients are performing. I can't complain that my clients are slacking off and not doing the work if I'm slacking off too and I'm not doing the work myself. It's simply just a reflection on how I'm doing as a founder, all right? So you guys can take this advice, whether you're running your business or you're just a sales rep. Still take the small details seriously and still be consistent with your health and fitness. Okay, so that's number 2. Number 3, which ties into the last point, was having a tight-knit circle of friends to hold me accountable and push me to the next level. So like I said, I have a close group of friends. One of them is killing it in appointment setting at the moment, and the other one is making around 30, 40, 50K a month. And he's sitting right there opposite me. No, you're good. Now, I know this sounds like cliche advice and you've heard it before. You are the sum of the 5 people you hang around with, but a lot of you guys don't implement it enough. If you actually take a look at your circle and who you speak to on a daily basis, what are they? Like, what are they achieving in their life? What do they even do? How do they behave outside of business? These are the questions you need to be asking yourself if you want to get to that next level and get out of your comfort zone. Because like I said, the months prior, I was used to being surrounded by yes people or yes men, or just being told all the time how good I was doing and that, okay, you're doing well, just keep it up. Like, you're not doing anything wrong. That was total BS, to be honest. So by having friends that can hold me accountable and not filter their words, then that's what's going to elicit a lot of growth in your business and in your life. If you don't have this circle of friends already, then I suggest you either look offline. Maybe you know some people in real life who have that similar mindset or are in a place that you want to be. For example, a mentor who's making the money that you want to make. I suggest having them in close proximity. If you don't have them in person, then look for them online. There's plenty of school groups out there, free communities, people trying to get into remote sales, people trying to make a living in appointment setting. Whatever your business is that you're trying to do, there's going to be a lot of people out there trying to do the same thing as you. All you have to do is join these networks and join these communities, interact with them, give value, and then before you know it, you have a solid circle and you're making friends in the same industry that you're in. Another thing I'd like to add, guys, is like I said, business is hard, sales is hard. And you might be going through a low point in your career so far. Let's say you're not closing deals at the moment, you're struggling with something personal. It's really hard to keep it inside, to be honest. Like, I don't want to come across as just an alpha male telling you to thug out all your problems. You should do that, of course, but it's also going to help massively if you have people to share that with, because they can help you. They have your best interest at heart, because at the end of the day, there's plenty of food on the table to eat. You know, it's really hard trying to do this by yourself. So get a support system as soon as possible and make sure that they're aligned with you, your goals, your vision, and your mindset. So number 3 is being surrounded by a tight-knit group of friends. Number 4 is tapping in constantly with your mentors. If you guys have a mentor right now, if you don't, then what are you doing? I suggest you get a mentor ASAP. When was the last time that you asked them a question? Or do you have this feeling of I don't want to pester them. I don't want to blow up their DMs asking a bunch of stupid questions because they might get annoyed. Or your ego doesn't want to admit that you need help. If you have those limiting beliefs right now, then I suggest you scrap them as soon as possible, okay? Because it's not doing you any favors whatsoever. The reason why my friend is doing 30 to 50K months consistently is because he's always tapping in. He's always asking his mentor any questions that come up in his business or in his life, rather than keeping it to himself and trying to figure it out by himself. Okay, at the end of the day, you invested thousands of dollars probably into your mentor, so why would you just let that go to waste? Okay, make the most use out of it. If they're a good mentor and they genuinely want to help you out, then they're going to be there for you. For example, right now I have a mentor. He's done 30 to 50K a month as well himself, doing remote sales, doing appointment setting. He's closed a ton of deals, and right now he's helping other businesses scale. And I consider him a really good friend of mine. But there was a point in time earlier this year where I kind of dropped off. I wasn't talking to him as much. I was trying to figure it out by myself, trying to figure out my own business problems by myself. And surprise, surprise, I wasn't doing so well. And then the moment in September when I tapped back in with him, I started asking him questions again, hopping on calls with him and implementing his advice. That was when I saw the growth. Number 4 is tapping in constantly with my mentor. We have 2 more points to get through. I want to save the best for last. But number 5 is what I call the 5% rule. So basically the 5% rule is something that ChatGPT helped me come up with, and it is a financial strategy. It is a way of allocating finances the right way. I'm not going to sit there and be a financial advisor, but I found this to really help me a lot, because one of the biggest things, I'll be real with you guys, one of the biggest things that was holding me back before was self-sabotage. And everyone has their own ways of self-sabotaging, right? They do certain substances, they go out and they party, they do things that they shouldn't be doing. They become toxic to existing relationships that were going well, right? There's many different ways people self-sabotage. I implore you guys to take a deep dive into yourself and figure out, how do you self-sabotage personally? What do you do when you start doing well? Like, how do you hold yourself back? For me personally, I'm a materialistic guy, I'm gonna be honest, all right? I like nice things. However, that materialism and that spending can go out of hand sometimes. There's been times when I've hit record months in the business in the past, and then the following month, I'll go splurge on vacations, I'll go splurge on some new shoes, new clothes, on spending more on eating out, at dinners, on cigars. Cigars used to be a big vice of mine. Now it's not. I've kept it more under control. I would spend the money on stupid shit most of the time when I was doing well. And then surprise, surprise, fast forward a couple of weeks, a couple of months, I'd be in survival state again, and I'd go from abundance back down to scarcity. And as we all know, nothing ever good comes from scarcity. So during mid-September, when things started picking up in the business, I was getting more clients, I charged higher prices, and I was seeing a lot more money in my bank again. I asked ChatGPT, okay, how do I allocate these finances correctly? How much should I allocate to my needs? How much should I allocate to my wants? How much should I allocate to investments, tithing, helping out friends and family? And ChatGPT came in clutch. And this is how I came up with the 5% rule. Now, all the 5% rule is, I can still spend the money guilt-free. There's nothing wrong with enjoying your wealth and buying nice things. However, the catch is you have to keep it at 5%. Now, feel free to play around with these numbers. Obviously, it depends on your situation and how much you're making, how lenient or how strict you want to be with your finances. But for me, I'm in a stage right now where I have to grow and scale aggressively if I want to get to 30K a month. Because 13K is fine, but I know at the end of the day, I want to get to 30 as soon as possible by end of this year. So that means sacrificing some of my spending habits in the short term and investing the money back into the business, back into ads, back into more mentorship or self-education so I can get to 30K a month. And ever since I've implemented that sort of structure into my life when it comes to allocating finances, that's been an absolute game changer, guys. I can't stress this enough. Being someone who likes nice things, who likes clothes, who likes shoes, who likes cigars, who likes eating nice dinners and having a good lifestyle, the 5% rule has really saved my ass. So I implore you guys to find some sort of structure or some sort of rules that you can implement in your spending, in your finances, to make sure that you're not just having a good month and then going back down, but to have a good month and to maintain it and to build upon it. So number 5 was having the 5% rule implemented into my life and my finances. That's what helped me scale to a record month, having that sort of structure and discipline in place. And like I said, guys, I saved the best for last. What helped me hit a $13,000 cash collected month at just 22 years old was having God first. Whether you're religious or not, doesn't matter. I'm still figuring out by myself. But I found these past couple months, when I've been getting closer to God, when I've been tithing, when I've been showing up to church every single Sunday, is, like I said, it's hard to do things by yourself. Instead of trying to just figure it out by myself and thug it out, I would pray, I would sit down, I would ask for guidance I wouldn't necessarily ask for a lesser burden. I wouldn't ask for things to get easier. Rather, I would ask to have more strength, to have more wisdom, and to have more foresight to deal with the problems that I'm facing in that current moment. And then when I was doing well, when I had a good week, I would always give the gratitude, I would always give the thanks back to God. Also, as it says in the Bible, it is not money that is the root of all evil, rather the love for money that is the root for all evil. God wants you to enjoy your wealth, but it's more of a question of where are you placing the focus on? And what are you worshiping more in your life? What are you putting more importance on? I would always be attached to the idea of making more money and doing more in the business. But ever since I took a step back, and instead of making that my idol, making God my idol and giving the thanks to him first and foremost, that was the moment I detached from money. And it's funny, when you're detached from something, that's when you get more of it. So the sixth and last point was placing God first in all areas of my life and giving all the glory to him. Now at 22 years old, I'm super, super grateful. All glory to God for putting me in the position that I am today, and not just get there, but also stay there. I have the most money I've ever had in my bank account. I'm the most stable I've ever been in my life, and I'm blessed to be in a position where I can also use that to help other people out. And we don't plan on stopping anytime soon. Like I said, we're trying to push for 30 by the end of this year or sooner. But I wanted to make this video because I wanted to document the journey, and I wanted to share with you guys what helped me personally break through my limiting beliefs and break through my income barriers to get to that next level. So guys, if you enjoyed this video, if you found a lot of value out of it, make sure you hit the like button, you comment, and you subscribe. If you want to learn the same skill that helped me get freedom and to live life on my own terms, known as high ticket sales and appointment setting, then you can click the first link in the description and I break it down more on there. You can also go through my YouTube channel if you want to learn more. Feel free to shoot me a message as well. I reply to all DMs on Instagram. But other than that, guys, I hope this video was really helpful, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.